I have had the most amazing experience over the last few years to get to walk alongside Katie Ingersoll, who is absolutely a phenomenal shaman. She has taught me so much, but she has also helped me look at my own life growing up in Africa with the tribe and to put things into perspective there of what I lived and grew up with. One of the things that I have found to be so incredibly helpful has been the conversation about the directions. And as we are in a season that's changing, we're coming to the end of one season and coming into another season, I want to share with you some pieces that have been super impactful for me with this concept. You see, my old idea about changing of the seasons had to do with my closet. It had to do with if we were going to move from hot summer into cooler autumn, I was going to get in there and change out the shoes and maybe add some jackets and do some kind of housekeeping kinds of pieces that would go along with that. Maybe even go find my favorite blankets and make them easy over the back of my favorite chair. But as I come into this space now, having learned from her and having asked lots of questions, I understand very, very differently how I can be preparing myself coming into a seasonal change. We're going to start with the East. The East is the direction, and in this space, the archetype for it is going to be that of a condor or an eagle, the concept of having perspective. The next direction is going to be the south direction. That's going to be after spring comes summer. And in the summer, for some people, it's going to be a snake shedding its skin. For me, it's a dragon that is learning how to shed its skin or is shedding its skin. And the eyes are the most vulnerable place for it to do that part of the shedding. When we come into the summer, that's going to be, the autumn, that's going to be the west direction. That's often seen as a black jaguar, this beautiful being that is not only protective, but is also one that is able to mulch up, just as leaves fall off of the trees, of deciduous trees in the fall, that they go to the ground and they're able to break up, that this beautiful jaguar energy is able to then also help us to dissolve things that feel like they're still hanging around. And then we move to the winter. And in this very simplistic directional that I'm sharing with you, the winter is going to be that of a space of reflection. And in that also then comes the delight in the winter time in this northern facing space of hummingbirds, and how hummingbirds are able to really pull the beauty out of life, go into these beautiful flowers. And yes, we put out sugar water for hummingbirds, but they're not living on the sugar water. They need that to propel themselves, those beautiful wings on them, fast enough so that they can then get what they actually eat, which is the little tiny bugs in the base of flowers. When we look at these different directions, and don't just see them as I used to, as an opportunity to change out my closet, but an opportunity actually to start looking at my life. When I'm in this springtime, when I'm facing that direction, am I looking at perspectives? Am I willing to come to a different perspective on things? When we come to the south and it's about releasing and letting go, am I really ready to let go, willing to let go, even how I see things, willing to allow that skin to come off, that way of holding on to things? Am I really willing to be vulnerable and release that? Coming to the west, am I willing to allow things that are so deeply important to me? Am I really willing to stand up for them and protect them? And things that need to dissolve, things that have had their life, that are done, am I willing to let those things go? And then when we come into the north, when we come to the winter, in that space, am I willing in that space to be lighthearted, to be able to see that there is reason, even in the deepest, darkest part of winter, to be sharing, to be present? I hope that this has helped you process a little bit about the different seasons and the directions. And if there is a piece of this that has been impactful for you, I invite you to leave a comment.